This is Andrea with Andrea Lewis Events. Thank you so much for coming to week 3. If you have been following along with our wedding planning series, we have been talking about the budget. We talked about paring down your guest list. Today we're talking about finding your location. So the topic for the day is location, location, location. We are in the fabulous Peabody Hotel in downtown Memphis, Tennessee right now. And thank you to the Peabody and to Shannon Williams for allowing us to come in today. So when you're looking at finding a space for your ceremony or your reception, what you want to think about is what you're going to do in that space. Are you going to have a seated meal for everyone where you may have 60-inch rounds or 72-inch rounds that will completely fill a space, if you can imagine that? Or are you going to have a true reception layout, which is more of a cocktail reception? That is where you're going to have a series of different types of tables and perhaps even a lounge area. So you may have some 60-inch round tables with 8 or 10 guests at those tables, and you may have 42-inch high bistro tables and then some of the lower cocktail tables. So if you can imagine those two types of receptions, the seated meal and then something that's more of a true reception, if you imagine both of those types of things going on in the particular venue that you're looking at, then that will help you get to a yes or a no more quickly. I do want to say, once you go out and actually start looking at venues, don't go to more than 3, 4 at the most if you live in a larger city and you have a lot of choices, because simply every venue is not going to be for you. It's not going to be your style. It's not going to be in your budget. There's something that's really going to put it on the kill list, I guess for lack of a better term. It's going to put it on the deal breaker. Let's call it a deal breaker list. So go ahead and get those things done out on paper so you're not spinning your wheels, okay? So no more than 3 venues that are narrowed down to the style of wedding that you're going to have and also what you're willing to pay for that particular venue, okay? So if you do decide to do something and have your ceremony in one space and your reception in a separate space, then you want to consider your guests and the travel time. You don't want to ask your guests to travel more than 10 minutes. 15 is really, really the top, for that. Again, if you are in a larger city, such as Houston, then we know that Houston is very spread out, and it simply takes you longer to get from one place to another. So in Houston or any large city, I would say maybe a 20 to 30 minute drive, okay? But you definitely don't want to have your guests drive an hour from where your ceremony took place to where your reception is going to be. That's just a little bit too much to ask of them, especially if they are not familiar. Just imagine them getting lost on the way and then having to call for directions and things of that nature. So trying to keep everything as close together as possible and being a good host for your party, because you are hosting this party, being a good host is really what you want to look at. So you want to look at what you're going to do in this space, and then you want to look at the travel time for your guests, okay? Also think about what you want to bring into the space. We had a wonderful, wonderful wedding here at the Peabody last summer, and one thing that the bride and I decided to do was to bring in carpeting. And so we didn't change, but we laid a new carpet onto the existing carpet in the ballroom. Now, of course, that may or may not fit into your budget, but what you do want to look at is what does fit into your budget that you can do that makes the space your own. Do keep in mind that when you go into any wedding reception facility, that facility is in the business of weddings. So what's going to happen is if you don't plan well for it, what will happen is you will end up having a wedding or reception that is typical for that space. And this is your big day. You need to do it the way that you want to do it, okay? So ask your venue what you can bring in. Lighting is huge, and we are going to get more into design on next week. but look at the things that you can bring in and things that you can do differently to the space to make it your own, so that when your gorgeous wedding pictures come out, that they speak to you and your fiance, and and the wedding that you all wanted to have. Okay, so look at what you're going to do in the space. Think about the travel time for your guests, and then think about what you can do to make the space your own. If you have searched and you can't find anything, then tenting is a great way to go. So go to your local rental company and see the different types of tents that you can put on the lawn, the grounds area of an existing venue, or look into your city parks or something like that, where you can go and erect a tent, and then inside of that tent you can build whatever it is that you want to do. I love working with Mahaffey Tent Rentals here in the city, and they actually do things across the country. So if you are in a different city and you want to look up Mahaffey and see if they can come and help you out, then by all means do that. But look at building the space and making it your own, okay? So even if that means, again, going to a facility and erecting a tent on the grounds and going inside of that tent then and building your wedding or reception, that is quite all right. It's your day. We want to make it gorgeous, okay? So thank you for joining us again. Next week, again, we will be talking about design, flowers, centerpieces, things of that nature. If you are watching this video, then you have probably found our YouTube channel, and it is youtube.com/ALewisEvents. You can also visit our website, www.alewisevents.com. Our Facebook page, facebook.com/Andrea Lewis Events, and then our blog is theplannerpages.com. So again, as we say every week, we know that's a lot to try to remember, and you don't have to remember them all. If you remember one of them, it will get you to the video. It will get you to the written blog updates that we do every week, where we actually give you the notes that we talk about on our segment on ABC 24 Eyewitness News here in Memphis, Tennessee. And it also gives you this recap video, okay? Happy planning. Thanks so much for joining us again, and we will see you all next week. Bye-bye.